Welcome back to States and Kingdoms. Today we're talking about Duran Duran and their self-titled album from 1981. I have so much to say.
Good. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I love Duran Duran. We've already done Rio, and we've done Seven and the Ragged Tiger. Here on the channel is what I'm referring to. Mm-hmm. That's what we've done here on the channel.
Yes.
We had a pretty positive response to both those albums. I think the general consensus among people that watch our channel and also the world is that Rio is their best album. I mean, maybe those are the same thing. I don't even know. The world and the people that watch our channel.
Yes, it's totally the same thing.
Rio is known as the best. Duran Duran's best album. I've always loved Seven and the Ragged Tiger as well. To me, they're like that. I really, really do love both. You have something to say? You keep going.
No. Go ahead.
But the first album, I would say that, in my opinion, the first three are really up there for Duran Duran. That's what I say.
Okay. I agree.
So here we are with the first album.
I agree with some of that. I don't know what you just said, but I agree with some of that.
You know
anyway.
How often you do that to me where you're like, I don't know what you just said.
I wasn't listening.
Or I say, I don't know what I just said. And you're like,
I really do think Duran Duran is a very interesting band. When we talk about it, we have some interesting conversations that unfortunately are never recorded.
Just us talking.
And the wonderful people that do watch our channel don't benefit from those incredible things. Instead, they get this dreck. But still, we talk about them because to me they're a band that was almost done a disservice by their fame. Some of the songs are so very famous, and some of the singles are, of course,
classic,
extremely famous. But when you really listen to the first three albums, I was struck by Simon Le Bon. I think he's a wonderful singer, like really great singer.
He's amazing.
His phrasing, his rhythm, and his lyrics are all very much unique. And I really enjoy listening to him sing. I really do. It sounds silly, but there are many singers that I like, but then there are some singers that, like, I could listen to them sing anything.
Yeah, no, it's like...
like a classic singer. I mean, whether it's,
No, his voice is just extremely, like, pleasurable. It just sounds...
All right, take it easy.
Just sounds...
He's not watching this.
You don't know. You know that. It just sounds really good. It's just got this, like, pliable sort of, he has a really nice range. He can belt, but then he sings very softly. He doesn't always have to belt. It's very, very easy to listen to, pleasant voice.
I agree. It's a very plywood voice, and
yes, and very sexy.
And it's on this first record. He sounds amazing.
Oh yeah, right from the start.
Immediately, just to say, this is an incredible debut.
Oh yeah.
It really is.
Oh yeah.
And when we were doing, I think when we talked about Seven and the Robin and the Seven Hoods, Seven and the Ragged Tiger, people were saying, I saw some people say they actually preferred this album to, even above
Seven.
Rio, or even to that extent, and and when you listen to this again, I think the songwriting really improved.
Yeah.
But there's something about this album that's extremely alluring. There's a rawness.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say sexy.
Even if I do think their songwriting improved over the next two records.
These songs are still really, really.
The songs are really good. Yes. I was thinking before. I'm sorry. Don't make me point at you, but I was just gonna say one thing about that they're still performing, and one thing that I think you see now that was there then, and this almost sounds like nothing, but I really mean that this is a wonderful thing. They are such consummate and wonderful entertainers.
Yes.
In the past, that could get lost in the shuffle, but now
Really
I think it stands out.
now.
You know, they're really great entertainers.
Yeah, and and I probably mentioned this in a video that I went to see them live last year. I saw them last summer.
Oh, I saw that video.
And that's how you found out. I saw them at Madison Square Garden, and it was a wonderful show. Really, one of my top concerts. And I've seen some good ones. Let me tell you. Beatles at Shea Stadium, Budokan, Cheap Trick. Where else was I? All the real famous ones. Leeds.
Limp Bizkit.
I saw the Who at Leeds.
Limp Bizkit at PNC.
Yeah, all the good ones.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, this album has one of their most famous songs. If you ask anyone off the street, "Hey, you, do you know name a Duran Duran song?" They might say "Hungry Like the Wolf." It's a very popular song.
It's not on here.
Girls on Film.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Girls on Film.
They might say "Hungry Like the Wolf." They might say "Hello, Mother, Hello, Father."
Say that again. Well, shit. If you asked anybody,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
If you asked anyone to name a Duran Duran song, they very well might say "Girls on Film."
They very well might.
And that's a very popular song.
They might say "Hungry Like the Wolf."
It's also very popular. Not on this album.
Notorious, perhaps?
The
Ovaltine.
Reflex.
Yes.
So the record that we have is the 1983 reissue,
right.
U.S. reissue, that includes Is There Something I Should Know?
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy that we have it because that's one of my favorite songs of theirs. So I'm happy to have this version because I love that song.
They're just lazy and never got the actual
single
original version.
That's true. So it's funny when listening to the record on a streaming service, say, Is There Something I Should Know really, really sticks out. It sounds louder. It kind of comes at you.
Yeah.
In a different way from the rest of the songs on the album.
On Stopify, that happens every now and then.
Yeah. Because it sounds like they're pulling
Stopify.
it. Yeah, exactly. They're pulling it from a different, I don't know what it is. Anyway, when you listen to the actual vinyl, it's much more seamless. It doesn't stand out like a sore thumb. I'm a new song.
The album sounds wonderful.
It sounds really, really good.
I love the production on this. I love the synth sounds, the guitar sounds. It sounds like Duran Duran, and the bass is always the same. The bass is always that there's no doubt.
Yeah.
But this album has its own sound in there, among their other albums, and I really enjoy it. It does sound different than Rio. It's not that it's less polished or anything, because it's quite polished, but just a little bit maybe left alone, a little bit less.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know, but I really do enjoy the sound, and I like the guitar sounds on it, which you
don't hear as much.
There's
afterward.
It's the guitar isn't as central. It's there. It's definitely there, but it's not as central. Maybe on certainly Seven and the Ragged Tiger, and maybe that's why he took a powder.
Yeah, I'm leaving.
Which is, another thing about Duran Duran. It's one of those bands where the first three albums are wonderful. And no matter, even if the third album is not to everyone's, I don't know what to say, not to their taste, but maybe they're a little disappointed that it didn't exceed Rio or even come up to that level to them. It's still a great album. Still really good. And then they lost members.
Yeah.
People left.
Yeah, and everything changed.
They were never able to get up to that level really again. And yet they have this long career. They're always worthwhile songs. They always make, it's like the albums aren't not worth listening to. It's a really interesting case.
They had an amazing career despite, all the personnel changes. And
people do take them seriously now. I feel like for a long time, they were still like almost hindered by how famous the teeny bopperish image.
Yeah, because could you imagine? I mean, look at the
Fab Five silliness.
The albums and the bands that we're talking about, next to each other, and people that watch our videos are commenting, agreeing, that they like this, and this, and you wouldn't think years back that the same person that is listening to Yes or Steely Dan is also listening to Duran Duran
or Slipknot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's actually how I kind of approached Duran Duran, because some of those bands in the late '90s that I was listening to as a youngin, Deftones, Korn, whatever.
They have a very
we're listening
very
to Duran
clear
Duran.
Duran Duran.
Yeah, and you can hear it.
Yeah.
You can hear it.
The influence is strong.
It's mostly in the singing. I mean, Simon Le Bon, his influence is there, and of course it should be, because such style shouldn't go unnoticed. And
I mean, if you're gonna model your voice after someone, He's a smoothness, in his singing.
So this, just to talk specifically, this album, The Night Boat.
Really great deep cuts.
If I'm not mistaken, they just redid for the newest album. Really moody, atmospheric song.
They do that so well.
But Sound of Thunder, Friends of Mine are still solid songs that are not, and I mean obviously not in any way filler. They're really really great songs.
I love Sound of Thunder. I feel like that has a clear line right to Rio. About the way it's structured, like the tempo of it just feels like you kind of, it would fit on Rio if it, maybe the production just changed a tinge.
Well, one thing I was gonna say, we used to talk about Tracy Jacks and Girls on Film.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the one Blur song that has a clear link right to Duran Duran.
And listening to this again after a while,
there's more.
There's a blurriness to this, more than I had remembered.
Yeah. I never made that clear connection aside from Tracy Jacks.
Which is borderline just like
theft.
A little bit.
But it's true, yeah. I think especially like if you put this up next to Leisure, it's like their first outing, and there's
it would be funny if
interesting.
it was like this and Think Tank.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was thinking about Think Tank because the instrumental Tel Aviv really does have like a little bit of a Middle Eastern-y kind of, flair to
certainly.
it, which did actually remind me of some of the sounds on Think Tank, which is kind of funny.
So I don't know, we're going to end this video by accusing Blur of ripping off Duran Duran.
But to go back to that, I love Duran Duran's instrumentals.
Yes.
I think they're so good. They're so moody and so evocative and so interesting. And, given that Simon Le Bon's lyrics are so unique and fun and funny and very, very interesting to listen to, when they don't have that and it's just instrumental, it still has something really special.
Yeah.
Their instrumentals are just wonderful. I love them all.
I love instrumentals on a
I know you do.
A rock album. It's whether it's the Beach Boys or Metallica.
Yeah.
I like it when they have an instrumental on
Blur.
there. Those rip-offs.
No, instrumentals are awesome.
Just kidding. Love Blur.
Love Blur. Thank you so much for watching. Please let us know what you think of this album in the comments. Please make sure to like, subscribe to States and Kingdoms, and we will see you next time.